Welcome to the ValsPOD, where we're covering the ValsPOD Championship like a fresh coat of paint. On today's episode, we have Teryn Gregson from the PGA Tour. Teryn is the host of two shows on PGA Tour social media, The Takeaway and The Good, Bad, and Unusual. Teryn has some good insights about the ValsPOD Championship for us, so take it away. I want to welcome to the show a good friend of mine on the show. She led off our coverage last year on the ValsPOD. It's Teryn Gregson from PGA Tour Live. How you doing, Teryn?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. We have so much to get caught up on. I feel like we've talked last year, but maybe it feels like decades ago. Oh yeah,
A lot has
yeah.
happened since
Yeah, isn't that the
then.
truth? Isn't that the truth? So, remind everybody who's listening or watching what your role is at PGA Tour Live and the shows that you're a part of.
Yeah, so I work for the PGA Tour and I have two shows for them. The Takeaway, which is a nightly recap show, recapping the action that happened in that day's tournament coverage. And that is on PGA Tour social media, so Facebook and Twitter and PGAtour.com. And then I also have a weekly recap show called The Good, Bad, and Unusual. And that runs on PGA Tour social media as well, on PGA Tour YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And that show is exactly what it sounds like. It recaps the good, bad, and unusual that happened at the tournament that week. And it's just a fun twist. It's not a typical highlight show. It shows a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't see in the highlights. And so I have a lot of fun with that. And I also get to contribute to PGA Tour Live, do interviews with players if I am on site that week with them, and haven't been in studio with them in quite some time because of the pandemic. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I get to wear a lot of different hats for the PGA Tour.
That's great, and I love the good, bad, and unusual particularly. I wonder, did you have to dig pretty deep this year since there wasn't any fans? I mean, it's usually kind of, well, I guess it's player tomfoolery, but a lot of the fan stuff was pretty zany too. Like I love the fan stuff.
Absolutely. We totally missed the fans there for a little while. And you're right. A lot of times the fans interjected and contributed to the fun on the show. But now we're starting to see some fans back again. So we've had some fans in the show now. It's not just the players anymore. We had a couple weeks ago when Jordan Spieth won at the Valero Texas Open. We had a little fun jibber jabber between him and the fans. He kind of hit it by the gallery there, and so we had that in it. At the Masters, we had a random story about Bryson DeChambeau just showing up at a local park and playing disc golf, and he joined up with some fans that were also there playing. It was totally random. So that was actually fans off the golf course that we incorporated into the show. So it is just so awesome to see the fans back. Everybody loves it. The players love to have the fans back. Of course, the fans like to be there, and it just makes everything better.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I did see the DeChambeau thing, and it caught me really off guard. The profile of person that plays disc golf versus what I think of DeChambeau, even though I've never met the guy, of course. It seems such an odd mismatch, but he was like seemed so approachable and cool, and they were doing selfies. I thought it was cool you guys picked it up.
Yeah, and the dad of the family that was there playing disc golf, he said the same thing, that Bryson just acted like a totally normal guy. They didn't even know, like Bryson invited him to be a part of the group, and they didn't even know it was Bryson DeChambeau. He introduced himself. He's like, "Yeah, hi, I'm Bryson. You can play with us if you want." And it took him a little bit to figure out that it was
Until
the
he
Bryson.
threw it like 700 yards.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, well, my favorite, and I'm biased because we're talking about the Valspar Championship here. My favorite uh, good, bad, and unusual segment was from the Valspar Championship. I think it was from 17, and I talked to you about it last year, and it was where a fan who jumps out of one of the most popular places to eat and drink on the course, the Hooters Owl's Nest, on I don't remember what hole, 16, I think, or 12. And osprey, a local bird of prey, gets a fish out of one of the local ponds, but it drops on the fairway, and the guy jumps out onto the course and grabs a fish, puts it back in the lake, and just starts coming back and has his arms over his head, and everybody's giving him high fives. It was hilarious.
I do remember that. That was quite the random moment, but that's what the show's all about. And because of those things, that's what I remember about the PGA Tour. That's like in my memory bank whenever I have to, come up with different moments to maybe showcase from the archives on social media. I'm one of the people that can pull those crazy moments out. Of course, I get to see, the major historical moments as well in golf, but I'm the like random trivia girl for these random moments, like a fan getting a fish out of the fairway.
I love it, and that's right where that's why I love to talk to you all these times, and why you've been so nice to come on the show with us. I love that where you obviously are a sports person, you love golf, you get to pour through all these highlights. So there's no better person to talk to about who's coming to our tournament. So I'm going to throw out some big names that are already committed to playing in ValsPOD, which kicks off on April 29th here at Innisbrook at the Copperhead course. So we have DJ coming back. This is the second time. He was in contention the first time he played in 2019. What do you think of DJ?
I mean, rule number one, can't go wrong with DJ. And you never know, what he's going to pull out of his hat that week. DJ can win each and every week out here, and he's just so chill and has such a good demeanor out there on the course that, for him, he just makes winning look so easy, and, he can do it any week. And you guys are right in the middle, the ValsPOD, in this really awesome stretch of golf. We're right now into the meat of the season. I feel like, once the Players gets here, the Players Championship and the Masters, we start to get into that major championship season where these guys are really picking their spots. So you have to be really honored whenever you get the type of people like DJ to come to your tournament, because that means that it was strategic that he chose to come to the ValsPOD Championship in the midst of, the PGA Championships a couple weeks later. And it shows that they think that this is integral in their prep for these big events. So obviously, you guys have had lots of big names in the past, and players love this tournament, but it's pretty cool to see that they think that this is a part of their prep for these big events, and that they think that, and ValsPOD is obviously a huge event. So it's really cool to see big names like DJ, and love to see that Justin Thomas is in the field. He's obviously had some great success in Florida. You guys, the Florida swing happened like last month. And so then they kind of circle back around to the ValsPOD Championship in the Tampa area. And so I think you're seeing some of these guys that had some good success on the Florida swing are like, hey, I want to come back and play at the ValsPOD.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, when we came out of, obviously, last year was just, we were probably impacted. The ValsPOD Championship was probably impacted as much or more than any other tournament on the PGA Tour. The plug was pulled because of the pandemic about a week before. I was actually on site when that happened, and the energy went from absolutely fantastic to, oh my gosh. And obviously, it was just such a gutting experience for everybody. So I'm telling you, what we have in store for people this year, I mean, it's fabulous. And Tracy West, who runs our tournament, she's kind of always said that to me in the last few years. And we were in a different position, like you said. We were always before the Masters, and we sort of sold our course in Copperhead as great prep for a course that's going to be really difficult to play. I think you're right about the PGA Championship, and then Wells Fargo follows us. So you're kind of seeing this Carolina-style course happen. And I think the guys, like you said, have acknowledged that that we typically have we're going to give you some good highlights because it's always close down here.
Yeah, Innisbrook is a fabulous tournament with a tough test. And yeah, you guys have had some fireworks and some major historical moments happen. Jordan Spieth obviously comes to mind in that scenario. Paul Casey, I know someone you wanted to talk about, and he's really kind of blossomed at the ValsPOD Championship. He's always been a world-class player, and, he started to really see his rise and break through here in the US at the ValsPOD Championship. And hey, let's also not forget that it's a Ryder Cup year. And so these guys want to get some points, and they want to make up for lost time last year too, like you were saying, with a lot of these events being canceled. And I think the ValsPOD, this is just such a perfect, I know I keep talking about the schedule, but as you alluded to, it's just such a perfect spot to be in the schedule, especially with the PGA Championship being at Kiowa. It's just, you guys are in an awesome spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly from my perspective, being here and close to a couple of the guys that work the course. I talked to the head superintendent, Ryan Stewart, who does the course. I don't know if you follow it on social media, but if anybody follows the course, the Innisbrook courses here or Copperhead or following ValsPOD Championship online, I mean, every day there's these vistas they put up. And, it's a PGA Tour course. You're going to get that. But I'm seeing it and I'm like, oh my goodness, we are ready. I mean, it looks amazing. And there's not as many grandstands, so you can almost see it in like its real splendor. Like, I went to Bay Hill this year and it was beautiful because you didn't have the obstructions of views and you could just see this massively difficult course. And it's just such a cool vantage point.
It is, and it's kind of neat to see the players can attack the course a little bit differently, and take different angles because of those grandstands not being there. So grandstands being there isn't a bad thing. It's just that we have this opportunity to see tournaments being played slightly differently than we have in the past. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, let's step away from the golf course really quick and step away from your one of your jobs, I'll say, because you've added a job. And I didn't want to let you go without acknowledging the fact that you've added a job over this pandemic, a very important one, probably the most important one. You've become a mother. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this year has had its ups and downs, but we definitely had a huge up for us here in the Gregson household.
So, okay. So when I talked to you last year, so about a year ago, round numbers, you know, uh, nothing about kid talk. So what's the last year taught you off the golf course? Like, is it a whirlwind? Is it just blink and you missed it? Just tell me about being a mother over the last year.
No, it's been amazing. It's the best job I've ever had, and it's just motherhood and parenthood, as you can attest to, is just such a blessing, and it's just so amazing. And your life just takes on a new lens for you, and you just really appreciate everything. You appreciate all the little things, and in many ways it's harder, but it's so worth it, and you appreciate and you love the challenge of being a parent, and it's just so much fun, and they bring so much joy to your life, and it really is awesome. I love it. Having a little baby girl has been one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Well, I can feel it in your voice, and I can attest to a similar feeling. Now, I'm noticing the green screen behind you. Does that mean are you filming from home?
Yes, you are currently in my home studio. So that's another small blessing that has come out of this pandemic for me, is that I went from working in the PGA Tour studios, which granted I miss, being in the studios and miss being around my coworkers, but I've gotten to work from home this past year, the same year that I happen to have a baby. So it's been really great to spend this extra time with her and be at home with her. And we've learned new ways to work now, and that's been really fantastic. So yeah, you're getting a little peek at my home studio. I film every night right here in our little golf room in front of my portable green screen, and I love it. I think it's fun.
How much have you cut out of baby screaming material?
Yeah, you should ask my video editors that. They've definitely had to, I've had to do a few retakes here and there because of the baby screams in the background, but hey, that's all right.
Nice, nice. So, okay, let's circle back. So, again, congratulations from everybody here at the ValsPOD Championship. You
Thanks.
wear motherhood really well. I can tell yours just like glowing with pride, and I'm telling you, every day is a blessing. Let's go back to the ValsPOD Championship again. We kick off on the 29th. You talked about the fact that we're pretty well positioned before the next major, which is the PGA Championship, a few weeks after we go. Last year when we talked here, and you're not going to remember this, but I do. You said, I'm assuming that might be your golf room. Is that true?
Mhm.
Okay, and you said, this is the ValsPOD Championship, and you said, I think our house is fairly new and we don't need any paint. But the next room that Mitchell might paint is our golf room. So I was thinking more of a blue. And so I'm wondering, it looks pretty white. So we're the ValsPOD Championship. Do you need any help from us?
I might need some help. Yeah, this is agreeable gray, I think is what it's called.
It's
And
agreeable.
yeah, it's what our house was painted whenever we moved in, and I I haven't picked up the paintbrush since.
Oh, well, you've
So
been doing other things. We just talked
yeah,
about what you've been
we've
doing,
been a
right?
little busy, but maybe you can help me get a green. So instead of having the green screen, I could just paint the wall.
You
And
know, they're on the course right now. The placards are up, and I walked by one the other day that had a hue of green, and one is called Divot. And I
I
thought of
love
you. No BS. I thought of you exactly when I saw it. I thought of you and Mitchell, and I thought if a golf room ever had a color, it's Divot.
I love that. That's a great
There
name
you
for
go.
a color. I love it. Divot.
There you go. All right, cool. And all right, so hot seat time. 2021 Valspar Championship. May 2nd, somebody's hoisting a trophy. Give
Yeah,
me, so we talked about the big guys. Give me a non top two guy that you might think can make some noise.
a non-top two guy. Well, I've got your field list pulled up here, so I need to take a look at it right now because I was
You know what guy I like? I like Lonto
yeah.
Griffin, to me, feels pretty good. Or like, what about like Billy Horschel? He's a Florida
Billy's a
kid.
great pick. Billy has been playing fabulous lately. I mean, obviously, playing well at the Dell match play and winning that, but he's had some awesome finishes the past few weeks, and he's definitely trending up in the right direction. If you're lobbing me a name, I think Billy Horschel's a good one. And I know that you don't want me to pick a big name, but I
All right,
was
you can if
looking
you want.
at
You can. Go ahead.
Paul Casey, and he, other than the fact that he's won here a couple weeks, and I knew he was playing well, but it kind of surprised me, I have to say, whenever I was looking at some of his finishes here lately, that he had a top 5 and a top 10 in the 2 events that he played in Florida at the Players Championship and at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So I think that's pretty good indication that he could come back to Florida and play pretty well. And then,
Man, that would be something three
that
in a
would
row,
be
wouldn't it?
that would be pretty, that's tiger like right there, when you're talking about a player, a
Yeah.
horses for courses, and a player winning like that. Justin Thomas, obviously has that Players Championship win. I'm just really, I'm feeling the whole let's pick a guy who played well when they were playing here in Florida, and I like that. So, and Billy Horschel, why not? He's one of them.
Yeah, he gave you some good material at the Masters too,
Yeah,
right?
that poor guy. Hopefully he can keep his white pants white
Oh,
this time around at the ValsPOD Championship.
hey, hey, I was pretty impressed. I've seen some grass stains being a father of 5 myself, and he did pretty well for the
I
spill he
know
took.
his little spill that he took on 13, and he was in the water 2 days in a row at 13 in Race Creek. But I have to hand it to him for yeah, staying mostly clean through that whole episode. But that is totally something that I would do. That's what I love about Good, Bad, and Unusual, the show that I get to do, because I try to make it positive. That's the one thing I want is for someone to smile and get a good laugh out of it. But when we're not really poking fun at these guys. We see ourselves in these guys. Like me, I would have totally wiped out on national television just like Billy Horschel did. That's something that I would do.
Well, I saw one that it was what you did after the Masters, and you said totally relatable, and it's literally the adjective I would describe what was seeing visually. It was guys weeding through the azaleas, and I'm like, if I could only get on to Augusta National, I guarantee you I would be seeing all those places because I wouldn't be
Oh,
on the green.
I know. I mean, we were seeing the visuals of Bryson, I think it was Thursday or Friday, of Bryson going into the woods and trying to find his ball. And I'm like, okay, that's totally me. And then I started to see these photos of Webb Simpson looking for his ball through like this just meadow of beautiful azaleas. And I'm like, okay, that is not relatable. I would never find myself going through beautiful azaleas. I'd be more like Bryson going through the muck of the woods.
Yeah, or Billy Horschel slamming his club into
Yeah.
his bag. I'm like, oh, now that's my guy. Like, I can get with that dude. Oh, I love it. Well, I tell you what, Terry, like I said, you've been a friend to the ValsPOD for a couple of years now. I hope we can count on you for many more. We love your material on PGA Tour. I love your relatable stuff on good, bad, and unusual. The takeaway is great for another reason. I love watching the highlights. So thanks for all you do. We appreciate you coming on. And hey, if you ever need to come down to Copperhead, you let us know, okay?
Oh yeah, thank you. I love Copperhead. I've been there a couple times and it's awesome. But you got me psyched about the condition of the course. Can't wait to see it.
Oh man, well let me give you some insight. So the overseat is different. The visual is going to be a little different on your screen, and winning here is usually like a plus or minus 2 from 10. Okay, so it's going to be a packed house at the top, and it always comes down to who doesn't mess up the last 3 holes. The snake pit. You either get bit by the snake pit or you kind of tiptoe through. And I'm telling you, I hope we give you some good highlights. I think we will. We got a good field.
I think so too. It's going to be great.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Teryn Gregson, PGA Tour. Thank you so much. I'm Tobin Walsh. Thank you for joining the ValsPOD. Look for our future episodes and follow along at The Good Bad Dad on social media platforms, or at ValsPOD Champ, or at Innisbrook. We'll see you next time.